I just had to sneeze. It's probably gonna be a pretty brutal and slow week. The last week of August, um, most people are not trading. Most people are, just taking the week off. We do have obviously the which everybody's going to be waiting for Janet Yellen's speech. It's going to be a lot of comments coming out. I think it's Thursday. Thursday, we'll start getting some comments. Friday, and then over the weekend, and we should, we'll get different comments from different central bankers. But everybody's waiting for, everybody's really just waiting for Janet Yellen's speech on Friday, to look for any type of guidance from the, about the U.S. dollar and about rate hikes. But other than that, I mean, let's go ahead and take a look at, at all the majors and see if there's anything out there. All right, so first and foremost, here's the euro, and we had this. I remember this rejection here, 161% extension. Okay, at 1350, we had a six influence, right? Then if you look at the daily, okay, we have, you know, low, 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 and then, up here, I don't think this came in as, it didn't save the way I had it, so let's go ahead and grab the end. What's the other side of that? Not sure where the other side of that line is, but, you know what, I'll just redraw it. Said, okay, well, we can go through a couple of the wicks, but for the most part, we're basically, we rejected at the underside of this trend line, and I said, I don't think my lines are drawn perfect by any stretch of the mean, so it's off. It might be off just a bit, but all in all, we're rejecting at some pretty key. I hear is at 1365. As long as that's holding, that is going to be key resistance for the euro. End of story. So if you decide to short the euro, or you decide you want to take a short position, just your risk is above 113.6. 113.20, the better off you're going to be, I think. No, we got to figure out where some support is. So this didn't transfer well over the weekend either. So I think this explains how important this trend line is, because if maybe I drew it a little bit off, maybe if something like that, but you can see we basically pivoted right at the trend line, which means that 112.70 is going to be critical. 12.70. So that's going to be key support for bulls, and resistance is 113.65. So your best bet, if you're going to be trading the euro, is you probably want to be long down here, and if it breaks, then turn around and be short. 113.20, maybe 113.25, and eventually look for a break below that blue line. I think that's the way you have to approach the euro at this point. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the pound. So here's the cable. Um, by the way, I closed out some of my euro pound short, uh, taking advantage of the cable rally, over the overnight. So I'm still short about half size position right now. Um, but you can see the cable. We had a nice rally back. We rejected at this is a 618 retracement from this high to this low. That was a 618 retracement right there. That is obviously going to be significant resistance. Period. End of story. So 131.80. You just have to know if we break above 131.80, it is going to start squeezing. Okay. So that's going to be key resistance in this range. Or we're still bearish, actually. It's going to be key resistance, though, for the current range that we're in. Because if we can break above this 131.80, it'll probably squeeze us back to 133. B. Grab. Hold on really quick. Let me try something. No, that is a 50% retracement. So support is actually right here at 130.25. Okay. By the way, you guys are gonna laugh. It's like I'm pretty ridiculous right now. So, yesterday, my brother, my soon-to-be brother-in-law, he's an engineer. He's a civil engineer. He builds he designs freeways. So the latest project, the biggest project he's ever worked on is like the Hoover Dam, which is in Nevada, like in between Nevada and Arizona. It's over by Las Vegas. Designed the new road that's out there, new highway. That's like one of his bigger projects, and he's a real sharp guy. But his like kind of pet project is he's a fitness instructor. Like on the weekends, he teaches some of those hardcore fitness classes. They call it sick fit or whatever. Yeah, he yesterday he took me out to do squats. I can't walk today. Just so you all know, like if in order for me to sit down, I have to use my arms to set myself down. And I actually got up at midnight last night. My legs hurt so bad I had to go take some ibuprofen. That's how bad it is. If you hear me complaining about my legs this week, that's the reason why. I really can't move. I feel like I need a walker right now. It's horrible. It's ridiculous. They hurt so bad. Anyway, I'm sure some of you guys can probably get a kick out of that ridiculousness. Let's go over to the Swissy. All right, so here's the Swissy. Oh, that's actually quite nice. So we rallied right to previous support, current resistance, overshoot. So that's easy, which is simple. 96.50 is resistance. Down to 95.35, 95.40, but frankly, to me, this looks like a layup short right here. Like this looks like a layup short. Like you just short, put your stops above here. My hesitation would be, and I'm not doing it, but I'm just saying my hesitation would be, is that I also think that the euro can come right back down again. So with that being said, I don't know if I'd be short the Swissy here. You know, but if the euro can spike up to 113.20, 113.30, that might pull the Swissy down enough to 96 cents, which actually might be a good long. If you're thinking, well, that could develop a nice little head and shoulder pattern, it could. It's possible. But yeah, it's something that I think you should keep an eye on. JT says, be careful, I hadn't worked out for a few months. Then I did an insane workout, full on. Wound up giving myself shingles at 30 years old. Holy cow, JT. Yeah, I can't. That was just we did squats, deadlifts, um, um, lunges, and uh, leg curls, and yeah. I'm done for a couple of days. I'll be done actually for a week. Yeah. No, I'm not going for no. I'm finished. All right. I usually go to the gym. It's just I don't work out my legs like that, and that was a killer. Okay. Anyway, dollar Swiss. So 96.50. I might write down support here at 95.90 just in case we get down here. This 95.90 might hit that first. George said, laugh out loud. Stick with the laptop toss. Yeah, I probably should just stick with that. Let's go over to the dollar yen. Oops. So the dollar yen was enjoying a nice rally. I had we came out of this triangle. Actually, we completed that triangle pretty much perfectly, right? I mean, can't grab it. Anyway, I think that's about the right. I think that's about the right expansion out of that triangle. But it is coming out of this trend line. So what I would do now with the dollar yen, if you want to be on the long side, that'd be the place to do it, right? If you can get a dip down to 100 yen, that'd be the place to buy it, right down here. Resistance will be 101, obviously. Because this previous support basically, I mean, it's actually looks like that. So it's actually 100.90. What's the high? 92, yeah. So 100.90 is resistance, and we are still bearish. Okay, we are, but we might be trying to make our way back up towards the upper end of this channel, which that would mean that if you can get a short off in over the course of the next couple of days, or maybe over the next week and a half, short, up at 103. That might be the trade to take. Okay, so still bearish. We're in still in a very bearish trend. So the dollar Canadian, we wrote last week 129.35 would be really key resistance, right? If I remember correctly, it's this red line. I think it was 129.25. 129.25, if I remember. And that, because at the time, that would have been the underside of this trend line, which it still is. You see it? The blue trend line here? Here, let me get rid of that. I'm not sure what that is. I think we were drawing what if it actually broke above there. Should get rid of all this stuff too. Okay, so you can see the trend line, test, test. So that tells us how important this trend line is for bulls and bears. I mean, if you're bearish, hey, as long as you stay below that blue line, if you get above it, then we're going to squeeze, and we're going to squeeze probably pretty hard. So a lot of this move up here was due to crude oil being weak this morning. And so yeah, break above 129.30 now would be extremely bullish. Support, hold on, what is this? Okay, I'm going to have to extend that out. No, that's not what I want to do. I remember that was the channel. We took this channel, that's right. It looked like that. I don't think we need that right now. Okay, so support. I have to assume that breaks. So support is really going to be right here. Well, I was thinking better supports down here. I got to assume that we give back some of these gains, so I'm gonna write down 128.50. Oops, 128.50 is support. Okay, and it's bearish while we're below 129.30. We have to get above 129.30 to turn bullish again. Okay. I'll put you guys on break for a few minutes. When I come back, we're going to do the rest of these, so don't go anywhere. All right, guys and gals, this is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I'm going to welcome you all back. So let's take a look at the, let's go over to the Kiwi, and we're going to just continue on here. So here's the Kiwi, and we actually held, I guess you can say major support. It's at 72. You know, we marked up 72 last week as being major. It continues to be major support. We made a brief push below this trend line, pop right back up again, and you guys know nothing just different here. You know, and there's a I don't know if we can call that a gap fill. But I'm still going to write down 73.20 to 72. It's the same numbers we've been writing down all week last week. 72 cents is support, and 0.7320 is resistance. And frankly, like I said, I'm not really in the mood to be trading right now. I just don't want to expose myself at trading anything. But I will tell you one thing: if the Kiwi gets up towards 73 cents, I would take a short there. That is a trade that I would take. Right? There's not, like I said, there's not a lot of stuff that I really want to do right now. But if the Kiwi did this, I would short it. Any move up above 73 cents, and I'm in. Okay. Like I said, I'm not. I don't even know if I don't have an expectation of that happening. I'm just saying if given the opportunity. All right, let's go take a look at the Aussie. So the Aussie, we drew this as a big. This is a big tweezer top formation on the weekly candles, right? Do you remember that from Friday? That's the whole reason why I shorted the Kiwi over the weekend, or the Aussie over the weekend. I'm like, we have a tweezer top there. We were trading at 76, I think 76.40 when I shorted it, and I said, well, you know what? I'm going to short the Aussie and close it out Sunday, Monday. So when we were down below 76, we were at 75.90 last night, 92 or something. I closed it out. So we're down here last night, and I think you got to just use that as an opportunity. Just if we can get if we can get the potential of shorting the Aussie higher, I would do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So any move back up to, well, that's asking for a lot. I mean, we went from 76.07 to 76. That's asking for a lot. It may actually be something like this. I think that might be more like it. So any move now back up towards 76.60, probably be a good selling opportunity like this. Yeah, so 76.60, if given the opportunity, I think that's a place where you want to be on the short side. We're in range. Support. Well, you can see the 50% is holding, so that 75.80 is support. 75.85. That is support in the range. Okay. Let's go to the dollar index. Okay. So we rallied back in the dollar index to the previous support, which comes in at 95. That is key resistance. Okay, 95. Now, a move back down towards this trend line support. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Move back down towards, this is just that confluence right there. So move back down to 94, call it 40. Then you got to take an opportunity to get long the dollar again if we get down there. That would probably put the euro up at 113.30, ish. But yeah, if we get back down to 94.40 in the dollar index, you got to take a shot at it, right? Down here. But you got to let it get down there before getting long the dollar. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let me get rid of this. Well, no, we'll just leave that there for now. Okay. The peso. So the peso, here's your daily. The weekly candle gave us a doji last week. False breakdown towards the 618 and it bounced. As you can see here, this 50% retracement probably will stick. So any move to 1845, which will be, basically a 50% retracement. Oh man, my legs are killing me. I have to sit sideways. 18. I'm gonna have to take more aspirin here in a minute. 1855 is going to be resistance. Support's going to be right here. At 1820, basically. Okay, 1820. And we are in a range. All right, let's take the US dollar, Norwegian krona. Now, what's interesting about the Norwegian krona, and I have to point this out. So, last week, let's take this out of here. We basically closed back above this trend line, which, if you go over to the weekly chart, we created a doji right on the on the trend line, and I was long a little bit of US dollar Norwegian krona overnight, just so you know. I made a few bucks, nothing exciting. I think I made like 200 pips, which, for the US dollar Norwegian krona, it's kind of like making 30 pips in the euro. So I made a couple hundred pips over the weekend being long this. But that, remember, we wrote down last week 825 is being really key resistance. Well, this morning we briefly went above that to 826. So I'm going to have to write down the highs now at 826, basically. Okay. And that's going to be resistance. And because I was considering turning everything to bearish last week, But because we managed to close back above that trend line, I'm going to keep it at range for a little bit. Now, if for some reason by the end, then it is going to flip to bearish, okay, for sure. But we have to get back. We have to, break through this support. Now that's not going to be, well, that's probably support for today. I mean, I'll just write down 812. That's pretty key. Okay. All right, let's go over to the Swedish krona. Grab a drink of my coffee. All right. So here's the Swedish krona. We had this trendline support came into play last week. Trendline support came right into play. That 834 is really big support. I don't think there's any if and or buts about that. Now, so we had previous support acting as current resistance. It did, even though we made it above it just a little bit, enough to squeeze out a few people, and then we came back down again. So that means that basically 843. So if we can break back above 843, that will be bullish. We can break above that. All right. 8.4300. It's like copper just sold off a little bit too. Sorry, I was just taking a real quick look around. I'm going to put this in range. Okay, so there's your bias chart. It is finished. Like I said, you got this. I'm not going to do a whole lot this week. This is the type of market. Okay, this is the type of market where you do not want to chase. Okay, you don't want to chase. You want to wait for your prices. You want to be patient. And I think that these prices that we wrote down today on your bias chart are going to be very important. Trying to be patient. You want to try to pivot off of these prices. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can take some questions from this morning. It is slow, and again, if you guys wanted a week to take off, this is the week to take off. Come back on Friday.